I'm not sure what YouTube is doing. I always try to post my videos public, but this last time it came up suspiciously. It wouldn't let me do that, and it was just posting private. So I don't know. YouTube might cancel my subscription, my ability to post videos. I don't know what the hell they're going to do, but we'll see what happens after posting today's videos. But it's a little upsetting. But I think it was just a blur by or just a malfunction or something. I don't know. We'll find out, I guess, in the near future. But I did not intentionally try to post any videos privately. Stacy Herbert, she's Max Kaiser's wife, and they do the Kaiser Report, which I recommend people watch. It's a very good show, very entertaining. I like both these people. The Bitcoin thing, I can live without. I don't have any Bitcoin. I don't have any interest in it, and but Max thinks it's a great way to go. And I understand the theory behind it. It's a limited amount of anything. It's just like the theory behind gold or silver or anything else that's of limited amount. It's what JFK was going on when he gave us the silver-backed currency, these U.S. Treasury notes, silver certificates. It's a limited amount, so it helps to keep the value. There's incentive to want to keep the value, which is, unlike fiat currency where they just keep diluting it, making more of it. Say, well, we don't care if we dilute it. We just take extra to make sure that if we did ever, concentrate it again, we've got even more. So they don't care about diluting it. They let the poor, the masses, have that. These are the people that we call that. Stacy has coined this term. I haven't heard anybody else use it. I've used it, but I always credit her for it. But Joe Bag of Donuts, that's everyday people. And, the average Joe, we might say. But that's who it affects. When they dilute our currency, what is known in the economic world as debasement of currency, and the way they carry this out is by cost of living inflation, which is a tax. Some call it a hidden tax, but if it's something you got to pay, it's every bit as real as any tax that you have to pay a government entity. This is a very bad effect, But Joe, it's a good word. It's a good name, Joe. I had my grandpa on my dad's side was the Indian. I was always told he was Indian. He kind of looked Indian. Joseph Daniel, credit was his name. An average sized man like myself, though my dad was a big guy, 6'2", and his grandpa, my dad's grandpa, was a big guy. In fact, at one time he was known to be or said to be the strongest man in all Canada. I guess they had a refrigerator lifting contest. Joe, it's a good name. But the ancestral name was actually not credit. He changed that to shorten it. It was actually Peloquin. In fact, as it was extended, it was credit du Peloquin. So it kind of had some French entanglement there, too. So I don't know if we joined the tribe of Indians, the Mississauga tribe up there in Toronto, south of Toronto, Canada, or not. I don't know. Because I've got a daughter that went to this 23andMe or something, this genetic testing, and it was showing some French in there, and it showed the Slavic and the Persian, Irish, and Scotch, because they've got all that, but it wasn't showing the Indian. I just don't know. But a lot of people are Indian because they joined the tribe. We got 12 dead in I guess it's a government workplace mass shooting in Virginia Beach. Oh, a point on, I remember recently I was talking about going to my twin nieces, one of their weddings coming up here July 12th. It's a Friday. And I wanted to reserve a spot in case I can get a date from this lady I am pursuing. And I sent my sister a check to reserve it, and my niece wouldn't allow it. Of course, she's rolling in the dough, making well over six figures, I guess, and she probably thought that was an insult, and it was probably insensitive on my part. But I just didn't know what to do. I needed to keep that slot open for this lady in case she decided to give me a chance and to be my date for this wedding. I talk about the values of being an American and things we value as Americans and First and Second Amendment. Well, one of the nice things about the Second Amendment is even if you don't like guns, and I really don't like guns, but I value my Second Amendment rights. And all of us are benefiting from this. It's like a bluff. Nobody knows who's packing, and it's nobody's business but your own. So for all people know, you're armed to the teeth at your residence. And that's a good thing. You're certainly not going to post a sign out front saying this is a gun-free zone, right? It kind of welcome the home invaders out there, wouldn't it? I just wanted to make a note about the problems we have between the genders. And, I've talked about how men have this issue. We're kind of polygamous. There's so many men, it seems like, that want a mistress and they got to have an extramarital affair and all this crap. And it's from some kind of an ancient memory, I think, where God kind of tolerated that sort of thing and not anymore. And I agree with that. I mean, some women kind of maybe prescribe that one man isn't enough for them. So, they want that extramarital affair too. But I don't like it. I don't approve of it, to be quite honest with you. And, women, they've got that prostitute thing where they think they're more valuable and, well, men will pay money to have sex, but very few women will pay to have sex with men. They don't need to. They know all they have to go to a bar, and they're going to have one guy after another probably hitting on them. So it's kind of a different paradigm for men and women. But the prostitute mentality isn't becoming any more than the polygamous mentality, and men beyond that too. They've got this issue with they want the virgin, right? So the young woman thing, and it's less likely that women fall into that, but there is women too that they want that extra young man, and you see women getting in trouble for statutory rape sometimes too. So I guess there's some women that like that young innocent boy too, young innocent man, whatever, and they're not good, you know. But I know for a long time I have been myself trying to get away from this and fighting it as much as I could. I know I lived in Las Vegas for a while from about 2001 to 2003 for a couple of years there. And you got strip clubs all over the place. But I just thank God I never once visited one of these places. And but I'm not sitting on a high horse. I know, tons of guys go to these things. It's just you hope to outgrow this sort of thing, and I have. And if men are ever going to get over their issues, sexual issues, women kind of have to start setting an example. And I kind of feel like we've been going the other way, where now it's more, women, they want to see men strip and stuff like that. And I just don't like it. I don't like it either way. I don't like the idea of my sweetheart going to a strip club any more than she would like the idea of me going to a strip club, I'm sure. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander in a nutshell here. That men, you need to be sensitive to women, treat others the way you want to be treated, especially your beloved. And I would say that for her too. So, if you don't want to offend your beloved, then you've got to think like her and be sensitive, be intuitive. You don't have to ask. You know better. Okay, and That's just a little brotherly, friendly advice for all of us. And myself, too. Remember, I'm not sitting here on a high horse. I have the same issues as everybody else. It's just that the last thing I want to do is offend somebody that I love more than life itself, and that would be your better half, your significant other, your beloved. I think sometimes there should be a study about smokers because I do believe that a little bit of poison can be good. And I believe that smokers get less colds because the germs don't live as well when you've got nicotine to contend with. And I believe that they probably get less mosquito bites because the nicotine toxins coming out the skin, and it's not mosquitoes don't like that. And they probably get less tick bites too because ticks again they're insects that'll get on your skin and they probably don't like uh, nicotine. So I just think there ought to be a study to see if there is any actual benefits from nicotine, a little bit of poison. And understand that this stuff they cure cancer, the chemotherapy, that's toxic. But that's what they're using to kill this other virus, this cancer virus in people, is a toxin. I'm just floating that idea. I don't know for sure, but I have a hunch, I have a suspicion that there's certain benefits to a little bit of poison in the form of nicotine. Um, you know, our body is much like a machine. It's an incredible biological machine that heals itself. The inventors wished that they could invent a machine that healed itself. But, one of the issues we can have as humans in having these flesh and blood bodies is we can get body odor. And it comes out of nowhere. Even if you have a good diet, these things can come out of nowhere. And sometimes it's just stress. We don't know what's going on. But one of the things that you can look into it yourself that can help with this is charcoal, activated charcoal. So if you don't like body odor, you might consider taking a little bit of activated charcoal on a regular basis. But you remember, if you take this stuff, you'll want to drink extra water because the charcoal is very drying. It's absorbent, absorbs toxins in our bodies. So just a little friendly advice to anybody that doesn't like to have, you know, odor under your armpits, for example, which everybody can get from time to time. Even, right after you take a shower, it can happen. So, sometimes you might want more than just a little deodorant, roll-on deodorant to help you out. So, it's just something you can do. Last week I was talking about stuff made in Japan, and I was wrong about Samsung is actually a South Korean company, as is LG. But it's only about 500 miles away from Japan, so I'm certain that Japan had influence in that very high quality product technology that these companies have come up with. Because we all know that countries make products that originated in one country, but now they're made domestically. Yeah, I talked to my on the way down to North Sacramento last week, a week from today. I called my Aunt Anna. I'd gotten her phone number recently because my Uncle Bill had died, the lieutenant colonel in the Air Force, her husband. This is my mom's sister, but it was a good conversation. And she was talking about my cousin, Mike, that was, He's a retired, well, Secret Service, but he's both retired FBI and Secret Service. She was going to give me his phone number, and I thought, hey, you know what? I hadn't talked to Mike. I mean, I was about 3 or 4 years old the last time I saw him. It was at my Uncle George's house, my mom's brother, George, in Shreveport, Louisiana. And I was basically a little more than a baby, 3, 4 years